contract like that after we gave one to Pujols too that he's still cashing in on even though he turns 50 next year. Cody, I was rude to you earlier on the Kareem Hunt situation. You can give us all your thoughts.
Can I just say one more thing?
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Me about Kareem Hunt and Justin Verlander intentionally trying to derail me. Okay,
Here's what's happening in the perfect game. All right, he's thrown 1,000 pitches, and somehow in the ninth inning, he is at 112 miles an hour. He is more imperfect than he has ever been. He is riding into the sky, soaring toward the sun with all of his imperfections.
McGillicuddy, you know this. The thing about me is that my mind is in
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
In the Miami Herald, you're the old white guy columnist who always castigates the athlete.
Getting older every day.
For misbehaving and for urinating on sportsmanship. What side are you on?
Well, I want to make 2 points. Number one,
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
From that injury, but I've been negligent in not taking up Greg Cote on the important topic of the day, which is multiple hose. He has discovered that there are multiple kinds of hose.
Right. I mean, a lot of farmers out there listening.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN.
How did we do it, the oldest segment in the history of radio, without getting an opinion from the oldest man in the history of radio on this?
That's right. Beach Boys, baby.
Chime in.
I just did.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on
It's now less than 7 weeks till Greg Cote Day in Fort Myers.
You deserve a day, and I'm so happy about this. Like, what's going to happen during this day? Give us the events. What's happening?
It's going to be a big time.
This was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.
Are in trying to revamp this mode. Woj is reporting that the Al Horford contract is something he's working with the team on in order to clear up space. The hell are the Celtics doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg.
Juju.
From someone who was there at the beginning of both eras, right?
Right.
Carlin v. Seinfeld, Greg. Who are you going with and why?
Wow.
Well, totally different types of comics. I mean, one's a classic stand-up and the other's more of a
This
TV.
was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.
How can you possibly say that sliced bread is something that's overrated? How can you say that with a straight face of any kind?
You never know.
It's Dan, Stu, and...
We're not animals.
How many items? Like, what are the items that we're going to put on you that you're going to be okay with us putting on you?
A hat, a shirt, and you never know.
This was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.
Sure to air that.
Greg Cote of the Miami Herald in with us today.
I think we just did the interview, but yeah, sure, I'll join you tomorrow. Whatever.
He made us deeply uncomfortable last segment.
It was a beautiful tribute, though.
Do you want to apologize to ESPN and the MMA community? For
God, I love me some UFC.
But Coco is a 15-year-old phenomenon. And
She
Greg
is.
Cote writes columns about it.
I would Google my name and Coco. Don't have enough time.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Oh, this is dumb.
It is, right?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, that's why Stephen A's upset.
Stephen A. said he's not upset. He simply sounds upset. What do you think?
He's outraged, but he's not upset.
Do you think he's upset?
You never know.
This was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.
Listen,
Why do the people like this?
the chickens are right. There were multiple people that supported him, but those people want more than one major. They don't want Content Tiger. They want Tiger going after Jack
How
Nicklaus'
could you
record.
be against the contentment of Tiger Woods?
No, I want the old Tiger who's pursuing and chasing Jack. That's what we all want to see, Greg, right?
You got that right. I'm telling you.
It's Dan.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Is the show dying in a plane crash the ultimate last lap?
On its way to a Fort Wayne Tin Cats game. What about your event, Greg?
Oh, it's coming up.
Because you still have hope. Some in Katie's camp still wanted him to choose the Knicks. You are pathetic.
Oh, God. You're the worst. Cody, I want to hear more about this golfing outing with Stugatz where he was high as hell. I don't want to do these likes anymore.
I had all these people coming up to the house. It was a big event. We had stakes attached to it, and I just had to do whatever I needed to do to play golf that day.
It was months in the planning, and you were feeling a little bit.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg.
Card-carrying Hall of Fame voting member of Baseball Writers of America.
I think Greg was saying that he'd like to get something off his chest.
I thought we were talking about Rolade.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I speak for every baseball writer right now, not just myself. We resent that guys like Lee Smith and Harold Baines, who were not voted in by the electorate, are later.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg.
He's been taking care of us the whole time. There's going to be sounds. Greg Cote sounds the entire time. And obviously, you're doing the meet and greet. You're throwing out the first pitch. You're really being celebrated throughout the entire day.
I want to be driven to the mound in the used car, by the way.
Here's the thing. Funny you should say that.
Funny you should say that. Greg, they're letting you replace a pitcher. You're making a pitching change during the game.
How about that?
A legit one.
How do you feel?
How pumped are you?
This was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.
Thank God the guy that was with us didn't desperately need a new car and was just feeling uncomfortable as well and was just like, fine.
Balling out of control.
And when I announced it, I didn't know this guy personally, even though he was in my suite, because he was like a friend of a friend. So when I announced this, I had no idea that it was somebody in my own suite.
But he bailed you out.
He did, luckily. I mean, it's a two-thing.
It's Dan, Stu, and
I
Greg.
haven't gotten to Cody singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," but what in your mind, Greg, was the funniest thing that happened during your minor league night? Because you needing lyrics printed out for "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," you going at a different pace. What do you think was the funniest thing?
Well, I did have the lyric sheet just in case, right? Just in case. He's to think that, hey, Dad, I don't really want to go to college because I can do all this just by staring zombie-like into a computer screen. It's a bad thing. I think they should do away with the whole thing. I mean, back in my day, I used to build forts. You know, Fortnite was nothing you stared at. It's something you built with your hands, like Man 101. It was.
This was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.
So if you've been listening to Mike Ryan, you know already that he believes that Baker Mayfield is the GOAT, greatest of all time. Now, Greg Cote, who was called Greg Goat, I'm transitioning. You see how I'm segueing seamlessly into your family vacation?
Right, not that seamlessly, though.
It is pretty good. Explain to us the origins of your beloved traveling goats, please.
Well, I used to be called...
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
And I think that we did a great disservice to Greg Cote because I found the conversation very interesting and you didn't give him enough time to tell it. So I'd like to find out why your family's the GOATs.
Here's the reason. You never know.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on.
It's been decided here, and I'm sure Greg Cote has opinions about the University of Miami not being anywhere welcome in this discussion because they've never won the ACC and not even a title.
People are being so hard on Tate Martell, Greg. You wrote a column, right?
I did.
This was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.
Is that enough time?
All of your observations. Yeah, that'll get us through what? That'll get us through one scene from him? Is 3 minutes enough time or no?
Oh, no, not in the world of ballers, Dan. The stakes have been raised this season.
Never been higher.
Noah Syndergaard is next.
It's Dan, Stu.
How is it possible that throughout your history with this show, you talk at the wrong times every time and never know?
Never know.
It's Dan.
Uber Eats scares me, man.
I mean, can you imagine? Cody's got to be recognized all the time now, right? Now that he's got a little bit of fame, he's got to have all sorts of stories.
Oh, there's no way he even knows about Uber Eats.
No, but just in
my
general.
wife, like Valerie, my
This
wife.
was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.
He gets traded. He's one of the big draft picks that, that they gave up more to get him than the Raiders got for Khalil Mack, right? Like that's To get Laramie Tunsil and to debut that way with your first franchise, former Miami Dolphin, like that part is a little disappointing, no?
Yeah, but he's 25.
Do you think we're ready for a male to play Wonder Woman?
Wonder Man.
I'm not going there.
So we're just gonna sit it out from here. We're gonna sit it out from here. There's gonna be that awkward silence after Beyonce, and now Cody's not gonna give us anything.
I said,
It's Dan, Stu.
Birthday to you.
Oh, look at that.
Happy birthday to you.
He's 65
Izzy's in
years
here. Look
old.
at this guy.
Happy birthday, dear Greg.
Wait, do we do Greg?
Gregory.
Cody or Cody?
Gregory. Let's do it again.
Yeah,
Happy birthday, dear Gregory. Happy birthday to you.
I can't breathe anymore, man. Oh my god. Oh wow. Why is Izzy in there?
Oh, a few words from the old man. A few words.
This was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
Live in a racist
Opinion on any
I
of
just
this?
did.
No, you've been quiet. I hear 12 voices there. I don't hear what your opinion is on
Well,
birthdays.
when I open my mouth, it's valuable, and you listen to it. And I'm telling you, the bastardized version of Happy Birthday. That's
It's Dan, Stu.
all in his home, the Charles Bricker picks that made him 0-14. And Greg Cote feels like he could gloat today because he was where is it? 10-5 and
10-5-1.
10-5-1 against the spread. How did you do
Pretty
it?
good. Well, the
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote, and President of Football Operations, Greg Cote.
President of Football Operations, baby.
Greg's Lobos.
Point leader. Point leader. No
Point
way.
leader.
No,
144
no way.
points, led the entire league this week for Greg's
This
Lobos.
was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
live in a racist country.
Got some follow-up questions on this that buries Cody, but Cody is super unreasonably interested right now in having a word with Jay Billis because now you've insulted him by pointing out both his age and in general that he doesn't know what he's talking about most of the
I
time.
have one follow-up question for Jay. Did you or did you not?
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
You know, no longer doing the Tom Brady press conferences and getting some Minshew's.
I have flown out of my slumber of watching Get Up. Did you say Joel Embiid is a top 5 player? Defend yourself!
Well,
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
and still have a great opportunity to end up with Tua. That's the way it's playing out for Miami. 5 picks in the first 2 rounds. Inherent lousiness. I mean, they're not going to win more than.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
My dog is always licking my dad's legs.
It's true.
Licking it.
It's unbelievable. And I'm smelling his ear. We just have an unusual relationship.
I mean, that is strange.
Yeah.
How about the, this is a universal one, right? It has to be. New car smell?
Yes.
Overrated.
Oh, no. It makes, I have a sibling. It makes her sick.
Really?
Yeah.
When's the last time, Greg, you had bought a new car?
I drive a 15, so it's been a few years.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Greg, you're embarrassed about your fantasy loss this weekend?
Oh, my God. Well, first of all, the worst thing is losing to a fake LeBatard team, auto-drafted.
This was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
Live in a
Everyone. But there's a story about Kyrie Irving from the Bleacher Report about mood swings and the Nets a little queasy and uneasy about all things Kyrie Irving, and it's just 3 games in.
Right, and he scored 50 in the first game.
Correct. And
It's
they're
all
still
downhill.
Right. What are they going to load to Kevin Durant?
Right. Yeah, seriously. Wow. Imagine being the coach of that team.
But Kyrie's become a diva now.
You never know.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Play for that organization.
Yeah,
what a complete disaster my team is.
Well, at least the Dolphins had the courtesy to be awful from the beginning. I mean, when you lose your opener 59-10, you were not setting anybody up. You're laying it all out there.
They were tanking from from day one.
Yeah, the first two games they were.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Wow,
I think it is. I really do. I think he has to win this game. It's absolutely big for his legacy and his resume.
And it's a better story if Washington wins, I think. First World Series in D.C. since 1933, I believe. Right. I was there. It was cold that day.
Yeah. This was the Dan LeBatard.
All things Kyrie Irving, and it's just 3 games in.
Right, and he scored 50 in the first game.
Correct. And they're
all
still
downhill.
Right. What are they going to load to Kevin Durant?
Right. Yeah, seriously. Wow. Imagine being the coach of that team.
But Kyrie's become a diva now.
You never know.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Complete disaster my team is.
Well, at least the Dolphins had the courtesy to be awful from the beginning. I mean, when you lose your opener 59-10, you were not setting anybody up. You're laying it all out there.
They were tanking from from day one.
Yeah, the first two games they were.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
For him, wow.
I think it is. I really do. I think he has to win this game. It's absolutely big for his legacy and his resume.
And it's a better story if Washington wins, I think. First World Series in D.C. since 1933, I believe. Right. I was there. It was cold that day.
Yeah. This was the Dan LeBatard
for that fight.
No, I wouldn't. Gosh.
I'm not going to. It's a little late for me anyway. Yeah. Tim Kircher going to join us next. Greg, did you have any? I'm wondering here because we didn't get a chance to speak to you. Game 7. Astros and Nationals, just a classic. Did you have any thoughts there on A.J. Hinch, Garrett Cole? Any thoughts there on Game 7 before we get to Tim Kirchin?
Well, I can't believe that he didn't put Cole in, but you never know.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Mistake, and the kids on my team, they know at one point in my life, many, many, many years ago, that I was pretty good at the game that I am teaching to them. And that really buys you a lot. If you don't have that, then you have to win big, and you have to do it early. Otherwise, you'll lose that locker room.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but there's so many contradictory examples as well.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
2-minute drill.
Billy, did you take the Patriots?
Yeah, Patriots -3. You got the Packers -3.5?
Yeah, I got the Packers -3.5. Tony, lock of the week. Quick, go.
I'm going to go Jets. Greg?
Dolphins.
Dolphins. Thank you for listening to the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
5 maps that there's no way Urban's going there. Too many jobs are open for Urban right now.
Right.
But it's weird. What's happened to Florida State? That used to be a coveted job, one of the most coveted jobs. First off, people never thought Bowden was going to leave,
right.
And then he left, and everyone wanted that job.
Yeah.
He gave it to Jimbo, but now no one wants it, it seems like.
You know what? It's a mystery. You never know.
Oh.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
You've got the NFL assessing his value and thinking it's not worth it to compromise the public relations. And you've got Colin Kaepernick saying, yeah, many things matter to me, but begging you for a job is not the thing that matters most.
The whole idea of him having to go through a...
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Disaster, this segment,
really
Greg.
am.
Like as bad as you've ever been.
Thank you. Wow, that's something.
Although it does look like Mr. Peanut. That's bang on.
There you go. It gets better and better with that Mr. Peanut analogy, I'm telling you.
So you're a Hall of Fame voter.
I sure am.
And you want to tell them how you voted this?
Well, I haven't voted. I just got my...
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Illegal.
It's got to be
charity
in writing. It's got to be in writing.
The very least, this is unethical.
In exchange,
this is my kind of journalism,
in exchange for you not voting for Derek Jeter for the Hall of Fame to carry on the anarchist LeBatard spirit.
You know what? You never know.
This was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.
That's the voice I'm talking about.
That is the voice that you think that it.
Moron.
Yeah, I wish I'd have done that voice. when
You
he
just
was
have a
on.
normal bottle. My bottle pours me a shot, idiot.
The Lamar Jackson stuff is super interesting. You've been covering football a long time, Cody.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Dan, that this is a thing. Culturally, you have different sides. Like Thanksgiving in my family is black beans and rice. There's fried yuca. There's all these things, all these sides that I'm not even aware of, and I don't know what kind of sides Greg has at his Thanksgiving.
We go very traditional.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Show him or me?
I am.
Unbleeping believable. You guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Lobos are playoff bound.
This was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.
Think of a way.
No, but we have to think of a way. That's what we're saying. We're not out. We're going to help Greg any way we can.
That's it. That's the final nail in your coffin.
No, I don't think so. And I went along with this. I'm all for it. I want people to enjoy what I read enough to
What you write.
what I write enough to.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Yeah.
Comes in and gives you that new coach smell and comes in and says all the same things about aggressive and
I've been hearing those same quotes for about 40 years, and they all sound like pretty good quotes to me.
Who's the Dolphin coach that wasn't like that, though? I mean,
there's never been Dan Campbell,
Jimmy?
Man Campbell,
Man
Jimmy
Campbell, right.
Jimmy Johnson.
Otherwise, you never know.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Greg, this is where you update your team, just so you know.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's what the
Okay.
segment's about.
It's like a mega cast, but it doesn't take as much time because I'm out of time. You never know.
This was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN
We
Radio.
live in a racist country.
That
Burn.
important detail.
You wanted to
Okay.
run with it. You
I was
asked me
debating.
specifically if
Yes.
you mentioned it. I was like, I wasn't listening at the time. I wouldn't run
That's
with it.
$2 for you blaming somebody else.
man.
And Phillip Rivers doesn't
my
get a
God.
whole lot of the jerk card. Phillip Rivers, like that was unkind to a guy who was being pretty gentle with him.
No, that's true. Philip Rivers gets a pad.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Sport.
Yeah, so
and
he-
you're asking him to come see you.
I should be offended by this, though, right? I should be hurt by, like, Stugat's not showing up to something that's for the shipping container, about the shipping container. It's a celebration of the fans of
Right.
this show.
Have it closer to Stugatz's house.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
3 votes that kept Craig Biggio off of the first ballot. And then
That's
you just
right.
circled around and you put him in your second ballot because you have this weird first ballot rule. It made 0 sense.
It makes all the sense in the world.
How?
Explain
You're just
it.
playing
Explain it.
fast and
On
loose with your
Biggio?
own-
You're going to defend yourself on Biggio?
You never know.
This was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN
We
Radio.
live in a racist country.
Everywhere. People have to hear this shocking sound of Baghdad Brewski. He just quit his job as public information minister for the New England Patriots in defense of all scandals and crimes. He just quit his job on the radio. You just heard it.
Sometimes you need to do this, though, to throw them off. You give yourself a little credibility by throwing a little bit, the teensy tiniest little bit of shade at them, right, Greg?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm amazed people aren't making a bigger deal of this story.
You never know.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Names as best quarterback ever because all of those guys had to be the best at one point. They had to be the very best. And I don't think Drew Brees has won a championship, but he's never been the very best.
No, playing with Rodgers and Brady at the same time, that's tough. And Peyton Manning won a championship and an MVP, but he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, that's
Drew Brees' legacy to me is complicated. I know you love him, though.
I do. I think he's the best quarterback in the NFL.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
So Louis Riddick joins us now, and he can explain this. Cody, what was your theory? Because Cody's real eager to find out what Riddick says.
I
about
said all day sucker.
You jackass!
This was the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.